Okay, we are happy to have all the way from Southern California, Steve.
The other side.
FAQ!
Yeah, Northern California. But don't confuse me with the other people.
The last time you were here, didn't I?
Yeah. This is kind of strange, especially following the previous presentation. This is going to be, not prepared at all. As you might know, my name is Steve Cooper, and I own a vintage BMW. That's when you're supposed to say, hello, Steve Cooper, yes. Because all of you, it's kind of funny. I do run, I'm the original owner and operator of a BMW 2002 FAQ that started on this spectacular date of 02/02/02. For those who haven't been there, raise your hand. For those who've been kicked out of it. For those who've never been to the 2002 FAQ, it. Oh yeah, well 2002 was a long time ago, and we were so much younger and much smarter, dumber. I have no idea. At some point, it was better, and ran it now for 20-something years. I think in 2 years, that's going to be 25 years. I once in a while wake up and I'm like, why am I doing this? And then I come here and this is it. I always tell people it's like cars is an excuse to get out of the house. And everything else that happens after that is why we do this. And we started the site because I didn't know anything about cars. I knew zero. My first my first BMW I owned was a 1981 BMW 320i automatic that I don't think had the first gear working. I bought it for $200 from my girlfriend at the time. She inherited some money from her father passing away. She bought a house. The first day she moved in, somebody breaks into the car and tries to steal the $45 Sony radio and the speakers from the back, not realizing that there's a firewall. You can't really get to the speakers. She didn't want to deal with the car. She got something else. I paid her $200. That was my first project. Once again, knew zero about cars at that particular moment. Drove it back to, she lived in San Francisco. I was going to school in UC Davis. I drove it there, gave it its first ever wash. Discovered that it had golden BBS wheels that I never knew. I thought they were always silver. And then process started off fixing the quarter window, fixing the rear seat, rebuilding the entire dash, figuring out that at 60 miles an hour on 280 through San Francisco, the car went to natural isolations and just kept getting higher and higher and higher. You had to slow it down to about 55. And that was my first replacement of shocks on the car. Drove it. Transmission didn't work. Finally, it died. I actually bought myself a brand new car. I was already now at school. I had a decent job. I lived in the Bay Area, worked in the tech industry. So that afforded me to get a brand new Z3 coupe. And I took that, leased it. I couldn't afford to buy it. And then I started meeting BMW people, and we started going on the drives. One of the drives ended up at an autocross. And I'm like, this is kind of fantastic. Next event, this is with the CCA, SCCA. So I started showing up to those. After my rookie season with this, I decided that Z3 tires were way too expensive. It's a lot better to get a new car. So I bought myself my first ever BMW 2002. It was a 1970 red. I bought it from a guy named George, who worked at that time for Ireland Engineering. Brought the car home. It spent probably about 3 months on jack stands as I went through suspension, brakes, everything I could find underneath the car to make it drivable for an autocross. And that's where that obsession started. For those, I don't have a picture of my car. For those who haven't seen that thing, it literally became a thing. It started as a practically stock 2002. And then I had to widen the wheel wells because we went from a 165 tire to a 215. Did not really fit well, so had to push all the stuff out. Later on, as this thing kind of progressed, it still ran, I think it ran a single, no, it was at that time, it was a 38 Weber. Running that thing, still stock suspension because I still didn't know how to drive. It was kind of the process of actually learning the whole thing, of going through the whole process. And then we used to race at Candlestick Park. For those who are familiar with either the San Francisco 49ers or the Giants, that's where they used to play. The entire place is built on a landfill, which means the ground moves. It is not the smoothest place in the world. We used to get airborne through the autocrosses. And that's where I discovered what happens when you shear the 3 bolts that hold the strut. Lucky for me, the entire strut moved back, tore off the fender, and that's pretty much where I landed and didn't go any much further. Probably my fault in the very beginning, because when I had the car up in the jack stands, I took them off. They were probably loose. I put them back in. Lesson to everybody, if those bolts are loose, throw them away. Don't put them in the box because you will use them later again. Just throw them away. Yes, my car was going through some strange things, but it still happens to people. And this is when the next step of the car happened. I already had the fender off the car because it was torn off, and the tires were now too small. So we went the next step, which is the 225s. Thus, the turbo flare showed up on the car. And we were trying to get the paint match to the rest of the Verona. We were off a few pigments. And thus, the fenders and the flares were slightly different red. But that became kind of a statement. At the same time, this is now strange, is a little weird, because I was driving the car, and the joke through college is, I'm originally from Soviet Union, for those who didn't know, is that I am not there to actually go to school. I am a spy. My parents are my superiors. When they show up, is actually to collect the data from me, and that was it. So when I started racing, I kind of had to implement that into this whole racing thing. And so the term KGB started coming up, and it became KGB Racing. And then became the slogan, which has taken over the world one race at a time. So now I have this red 2002, and because it's red, now the yellow thing starts showing up, like Hammer and Sickle, KGB Racing, all the fun stuff, the number 26, and that is kind of an interesting thing to go through. At that, it's like the car was still drivable, and with this whole idea of me getting this 2002, this was year 2000, I think. There was very little information available. There was such thing as a road fly, and we were all on there. And at this point, like I said, we were very young. And there was a lot of stuff that was going on with the road fly that a lot of younger people did not appreciate. There was a lot of censorship. There was very little information actually available on the forum itself. So me and a couple other guys decided we're going to start our own thing. And our own thing became this BMW 2002 FAQ. The main idea there is it's actually more than just a forum. It's actually being able to collect all the information stored in a specific place, somehow sorted. For those who remember the old days of Yahoo, where it was still a directory, it was just a little thing that says click here, click there, go through. So our initial page looked almost exactly the same. It said wheels and tires and suspension and the brakes and all that stuff. I think when we started, we probably had 7, 8, maybe 9 articles at the time. That were all not edited by me because, I've been in the United States for 10 years at that point. But I was all kind of the technical side and kind of started working on stuff. We launched it on, I guess it's a Pacific time. It would be 02:02 at 20:02. It was at 8:02 p.m. Of course, smart people like us would decide to kind of make this kind of interesting. A lot of you have joined almost immediately and continued on going from there. All the data there most of the data there is not from me. It's all from you. I provide the place, people provide the information. My goal is to keep this going as long as I can. And once I can't, hopefully somebody can take it over and go from there. I think a couple years ago, on April 1st, I said I'm retiring. And I don't want to do this anymore. And I actually got several messages telling me, hey, I'm sorry you're retiring. What can I do to continue running the thing? And this is when I knew that it's going to end up in somebody's good hands eventually. It's been close to 25 years. We are now legal to drink, so that's kind of a good thing. But that's where we are. I was here 2 years ago, and I did a presentation about everything, how everything looked. Not much change since then. There is a major change coming. The software is getting updated. Where version 4 something is going to go to version 5. I haven't played around with it yet, and that's the part that's going to take several months for me to see how to make it still look similar to what it was with quite a few changes. I have some ideas of what I want to get done in the future. I know there's always, I'm not going to say complaints, concerns about the for sale forums, and some of it is regarding scammers and spammers, and then also how people want this forum to look like, what they want to see, how the sections are set up. Somebody wants the post bumped, somebody doesn't want the post bump at all, and that's the hard part to kind of figure out. I have some ideas of how I'm going to fix that, but we'll see how when it actually gets there. But I'm here right now is actually to ask you guys what you liked and what you don't like. And I'll say be honest, but also be constructive. If you want me to retire, I can do that now too. It becomes easy. So the first one is, does anybody have any questions about what I've just mentioned?
Well, just to refer to the fact, I was one of the first ones to sign up to the FAQ board. I was in road flight before that, and I remember all that commotion that happened back in the day.
Yeah.
That was the late 90s, I believe. And, I'm happy with the board the way it is.
All right.
But what I would like to see is to make the search feature a little more friendly.
Okay.
Because I do have a lot of difficulty
Okay.
sometimes looking for specific terms. Well, one of the things that perhaps I don't know the mechanic lingo. Wait, I'm supposed to be taking a medication right now. Second way. Frequently it's a matter of me not knowing the lingo.
Okay.
Looking for specific things regarding to parts or whatever.
All right. I
But other
think
than that, listen, and I'm paying my membership every year. Oh, that was the other thing. So last year I didn't pay it because you didn't send me a message. The year before you sent me
it's everything. So if I had to personally send a message to everybody, I would not. It is actually. So my goal is I automate everything. This is what I do. Yeah. So they have everything's kind of done.
one of those that I'm willing to pay for the.
Thank you very much. And it's it's kind of like you guys. I know we have ads. We have. But it's the memberships, and you buy T-shirts, which is awesome to see. There are so many of them here. It's and the mugs and the pint glasses. And if you guys ever make it to Bay Area or SoCal Vintage, and I know some of you have, this year I actually not going to have one, but usually we have a booth, and I am there all day talking to everybody.
Serving.
Yes, and that's the next part. We usually bring beer, frosty beverages. So the first time I brought something, we went through 10 gallons between 10 a.m. and 12. So, and then so now I have to bring 15. This is what I know. So when we go to SoCal Vintage, I bring 3 kegs. I also brew, so this is everything I bring is my own stuff, and. So we have a booth. The rule is if you bring a mug that has BMW 2002 FAQ on it, you get the beverage. If you don't have a mug, you buy the mug, you get the beverage.
Well, then you put the sticker on the mug.
No cheating. I know I put the sticker on your mug, yes. So maybe this is an encouragement for some of you to take the flight from here to Southern California or to Northern California. It might be too late or to drive here, to drive there.
What are the dates?
It's this Saturday.
Like tomorrow, Saturday.
Well, tomorrow's not Saturday, but yes.
For me, so like 3 Saturdays from now. No.
Correct, yes. For him, it's 3 Saturdays from now. Every day is a Saturday, yes. So 3 Saturdays from now, you come and you get free beer tomorrow.
But it's typically this time of year.
It is first weekend in May. Yeah, so this is I've been trying to figure out how to drive here and go back. It will take 3 days, and I have a 5-year-old daughter and a wife, and they would not let me leave for 2.5 weeks so that's kind of like. So one day, actually, we've been talking about this, actually taking our one of our cars and driving over here, which kind of leads to another. This is always what happens. Last time I was going to talk for 15 minutes. He yanked me off the stage after an hour and a half. I never have anything to say, so I have no idea where this is going. I actually don't own the 2002 right now.
What happened to your touring?
It's not a 2002, it's a 2000. At this particular moment, I own a 2000 Touring. I have a 1968 1600 Shell, and I own a 1964 1800. So I don't actually own a 2002, which is always kind of funny to say, but yes, I mean, even they brought it 02, and I don't have one. So yeah, that's where that's at. So search, good.
So how do you get the word out to a lot of people? A lot of young people go on the BMW 2002 Facebook page and they start asking questions and I'm going, oh my God, if you'd ever looked on the FAQ, you'd find the answer, et cetera, like that, et cetera. And I try to tell them, I direct them there and start reading the forums and start soaking up the knowledge.
If I knew how to get that, I would be very wealthy right now. But I don't know. I try my best. We're actually, at some point, years and years ago, if you search for BMW 2002 on Google, we would come up as like #1 page. There is so much technology has changed since then. There are specific algorithm that Google does to try to find out specific items, which gets complicated when you try to promote an entire site. So that's when you look at something, if you go right now to Google and you search for BMW 2002, the first thing that will come up is the Wikipedia page. And the way the whole thing kind of works is that you establish a reputation for the website of what it is. The reputation gets established by how many people go there and how many links to it are from other places. So if I have my own website and a link to Wikipedia, they get it. What works with the Wikipedia is they're not just a 2002 thing, right? It's an enormous website with lots of different things, so they have a lot of links coming into it, so the reputation is very high. So anytime something search for BMW 2002, their page comes up on there. We actually have, there is a blurb on the Wikipedia for 2002 that comes from 2002 FAQ, so we have a reference. So we now actually have a link on Wikipedia linking to our site, which actually increases our reputation. Yes. So we fell off a long time ago. We got to like page 2, and the joke among tech industry is that the best place to bury a body is on the second page of a Google search. Because it's very kind of specific to everybody. Last time I looked, a few days ago, we actually made it to #3. I think it's Wikipedia, and then there's an article about the A2002, and then us. But if you start searching for things, like if you go to Google and search for BMW 2002 brakes, we're probably going to be at the top. Or BMW 2002 ignition, we're going to be at the top. So it's kind of these long terms that work really well for anybody. And this kind of goes back to the search. So we have a bar at the top that says search. And if you do very specific things, because I mean, Google is very good at search. This is what they do. This is what they used to do. Now they're very good at selling things. They're very good at selling you to people who are advertised to you. and also kind of sort this entire thing. So we do have if you look at the search, you click, there's a little drop down that says Google, and you type it in, and it does all our data. They have everything, and it comes up, and it will give you a Google search. They're very good at kind of assuming what you want. So if you type in, if you have typos and if you have anything, it will figure out how to do this. The software that we use is not that good at it, and that's where it works. If you have specific terms, it will go find them. You can use. There's a big page, and you can kind of if you go /search, and as I explain this, it becomes very obvious how complicated this is. Yeah, and but it's just kind of there are some technical limitations of kind of how things are. So, well, this is an interesting, more interesting topics. ChatGPT is. For somebody who provides information, right? For somebody who is a publisher like me, for somebody you guys who wrote articles and post them up, ChatGPT is kind of it steals information from you because it does scrape the entire thing. When you go to ChatGPT and say, how do I replace brakes in the 2002? It will give you an article. I actually tried that and it came up. It was mostly correct. It told you to take the wheels off, so that was a good thing. But other information was not really there because it kind of really fine. But this is, so the company that owns ChatGPT was actually sued by New York Times because they pretty much taken this information and presented it as their own. So they've changed in a few things. There's now actually, if you go there now, they have references. So it will tell you where the information came from. And it does kind of help. So I have ChatGPT. I use it for different things. But I've done, I would do the search for how you replace an engine. And we came up as a reference several times. So I'm kind of liking where it's going. I didn't like where it started. But that's where that, yeah.
Thank you. I'm just wondering, how big are the numbers? Like, how many members do you have in the United States versus Europe? Or do you have that information?
I do have that information. It's hard. What I haven't done in a long time is I haven't counted what the active members are. I think there is some on the bottom of the page that actually tells you how many total members we have. It's from what I know right now is we have about 6,500 people who receive emails from me. So if you buy a T-shirt, you will get an email. If you have signed up for the list, and so I know that over the last year I've had 6,000 active members. Whether it's a big number or a small number, it's hard to tell. There are close to probably 30 to 40,000 actual memberships. We try to wean out everything that's like scammers, and there's a lot of bots that sign up. I showed last year of how we do quite a lot of that stuff. We now talk about in royal we. It's kind of funny because when I send emails, I say, oh yeah, we're gonna work on that, and then it's just me. I just want to make myself look bigger.
You don't know how many people in Europe versus the United States?
So it's there are. Yes, I know where people visit from, and I can because we do have that kind of tracking. I can find out for you later. Yeah. I do to make things better. I always have to analyze them. So I collect all the analytics. I know how many visitors per minute I have, how many per day. So all this kind of stuff that goes through. We get about between 100 and 150,000 page views in a month, I think now. I actually haven't looked in a long time. But this kind of tells me where they're all coming from. Majority of the people are from the United States. It's just kind of by far. What we also have, if you haven't looked, there is a registry for 2002s. Don't remember how many cars we have there now. But it also has a map. If you put the address of the car, it will tell you where all these cars are. There's also another map, which is actually for the members. So every member, if you decide you want to share that information, it is there, and you can see on the map where everybody is. It's kind of hidden because we have way too much information. It's really hard to get through. Some things I always trying to figure out is actually how to show this information to people, because I know almost everybody goes to the forum, but nobody kind of looks at anything else. I've tried other things in the past, like at some point we had a garage section where you can list all your other cars. I see that's the look I know because it's like I didn't know that existed. And it was rarely used, so I took it off. It wasn't worth for me to actually maintain. But I tried at some point to get attention that we had the raffles, which I actually might bring back. You just either sign up or you pay $1 and you can win whatever. It's like which you can, whether it's a free membership or anything else, and kind of go that way. JP.
With BMW Classic no longer providing the born date, or you have to pay for it now, and it gets complicated. What I noticed is that there's a grassroots movement now in FAQ, like people try to collect dates, share what you have, and it goes in the registry. So
yes.
I think that's very useful when
Correct.
people have questions like, when was my car?
Yeah. Several years ago, after reaching out to them for several cars that I own and getting all the information, I actually reached out and was like, if I can make it easier for you guys, you give me the information I will provide. That email was ignored. Or like, hey, that's a great idea. We can do it on our own. Because that's what usually happens. But yes, I know there was a spreadsheet that was collected by people of actually lots and lots of different cars. And it is up to me to figure out the time how I can actually migrate all that stuff in. And that would be kind of fun. That's the good. But my request is if you own a car, if you know of a car, and it's not in the registry, add it there. We have specific things, whether it's still around, whether it's running around, or it's gone. It's no longer available. And it's kind of people find out. And yes, that part is actually highly searchable. Just put your VIN and it goes through. There is a technical bug in there, which I discovered because one of my cars has a 6-digit number, another 7-digit number VIN, because it starts with a 9. And if you go numerical sort, it's supposed to put it at the very beginning, but because it's not a numerical sort, it puts it at the end. So all early new class cars are actually at the end of the page, which is yes.
It's the same when you go to a BMW parts dealer and to the young kid you say that the car number.
Yeah, that's the thing is it's a very from technical point of view, it's a very easy problem to solve because there is in code, there's a variation between text sort and the numerical sort. So numerical sort should actually know what's going on, but the titles of the pages do not count as numbers, and that's why it's really hard for me to do this. And it drives me nuts every day.
Just curious, the traffic on the FAQ webpage, how does it compare to your social media, Instagram, X, Facebook?
I do not know what the traffic is to the BMW 2002 group because it's not. I don't run that. I kind of know people who do. The 2002 FAQ page the traffic is very low. It's just it's not. So you can't really tell what the traffic is to a specific thing because Facebook shows things completely differently. And I can see if I post something and which post gets more traction, which post gets less traction. Cool picture sometimes goes off. And that's another part. For me, it's really hard to figure out. Sometimes I post information which I think is fantastic and it gets zero attention. And a lot of times I can see it as that, it was never really shown to people. So it's kind of the way, from what I understand, it kind of works is that the more people like it, so you push, do agree, like, share, the more it gets propagated to everybody else. This is, it goes viral, whatever that means. So it's really hard for me to kind of organize that because a lot of it depends. A lot of it also depends on what time I post it, of who's looking at the particular moment, who's interested at a specific time. Correct. And sometimes it tells me, it's better to post at 10 a.m. I'm like, who looks at 10 a.m.? But it's kind of go that way.
Can you tell where your scammers are coming from, mainly in the U.S. or foreign?
Yes, I can. It is kind of it's a built structure. It's not a single person. These are companies that are doing this. And so what happens is the account originally gets created out of United States. because I pick up an IP out of the United States. And what I do is I have tracking actually enabled on all the users that are new. I track them for 21 days. And then what I see is within the moment they get approved, so dial back a little bit. When the user joins the forum, they are not allowed to send personal messages because we've seen that most of the scammers come in as, all scams are personal messages. They direct it at somebody who is looking for something else, they offer them whatever, say, email my buddy John at email, John7976 at google.com, and he has all the parts you ever needed and ever wanted. So we spotted that kind of relatively quick. Now, how do you stop this? It's a giant corporation that we're dealing with. So I catch, what I do is I start tracking a lot of things. Every new member that comes in gets tracked for 21 days. I can see what everybody else is doing. It's what everybody's doing, but I have a specific page where I can see specific tracking things. So the moment they join, they are not allowed to send personal messages. But once they create the first post anywhere, then they're allowed to start sending personal messages. Earlier today, somebody called Jelly BMW signed up, and they asked in one of the pages, is this still available? This is one of the most common things that people do as a first step into the forum. They're not even looking for it, but they're just like, is this available, right? They go to somebody else's post, and it's very little information. First, I look at the name. It could be, it says BMW, possibly something else, so I passed it through. But then I look at the email address, and this is where it gets hard. If it says, BoBlack@gmail, I know it's a real person, right? I don't really have to worry about it. Now, if it says BoBlack7976, there is a high possibility that is actually an email address generated by a bot. And now that's now collecting information. So this person's email had 3 digits in the end, which is usually a bad sign. I have let them through, so later tonight I'm actually going to look at what they have done. And what I look for is a series of like 7 or 8 or 9, 10 personal messages that were directed at people who are selling things, so are buying things. And then, once I see that, then it's goodbye. They get banned quickly. But there are different places on the internet they do. There's a website called Stop Forum Spam, and we submit to that database, and everybody else does. So I can take some of the email addresses and throw it in there, and sometimes things return and say, yes, this is an obvious scammer, but sometimes it's not. To answer the question further, most of the time they sign them out of the United States, and then everything follow through comes from Nigeria. So the prince is back. And he wants his money.
Did you, as I mentioned yesterday, when I finally got to introduce myself, because I didn't get to when you were here 2 years ago, did you get rid of the garbage page, the argument?
A long time ago, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I have another question,
Uh-huh.
and I don't want to bring up something divisive, but it matters to me.
That also got rid of a lot of people, by the way.
I love the fact that the forum forever was self-policing. That was very important to me, because guys would pile on, ban him,
Yeah.
and you always let it police itself. Is it still like that?
Other than the scammers, yes. It's the only person I've had to ban. It's not Jack. No, it is actually not Jack. Unlike everywhere else Jack is, on the forum he's actually polite. I think the reason for that is because he can only spell 3-letter words. And so all I get is but for those who can't see, Jack is laughing right now because we've known each other for quite a long time. I already told this story to several people this weekend, but about the Raiders and the commuting and all the fun stuff. Where were we? Oh yeah, banning. The only, you guys all want to know who the one? Yes. Slavs has been banned. So
But he came back 2 years ago.
he comes back all the time. Yes, and so what happens is with Slavs is I actually met him last year at SoCal Vintage for the first time. And I pretty much face to face, yeah. He found me. He approached me. I've seen his car there.
Say when he told you who he was.
Am I allowed to use 4-letter words here? I told him to stop fucking up my website. Absolutely, I'm not gonna mess around with this kind of stuff. And he's actually, because I'm like, he's always mentioned. He never mentions me by name or anybody else around me, but all these people from Northern California that come to Southern California, we steal all the cars, we pay dramatic amount of money for them. I bought my new class for $13,000, by the way. I bought my Touring for $12,000. I bought this 1600 shell for $1,300. So I am not the person who is driving the prices up. And I pretty much told him that. From that point on, I actually haven't seen him veer off anything else. And it's...
Well, the reason for my statement was simply, I always found that one of the most endearing characteristics of the FAQ was the fact that you allowed adults to be adults.
Yeah.
And it was self-policing. And you may or may not recall this with my previous handle on the forum, but I was always very quick when guys would pile on and say, ban him, block him, and say, no, this is a self-policing forum. We deal with this like adults, and that's one of the greatest things about the forum.
And when we first did the garbage page, right? One is I was younger then, and my thought was we send everybody out there; they can do whatever they want. It was actually you had to subscribe to that page. You couldn't just get in. It was protected by everybody, and people were subscribing to that. So everybody likes to watch a train wreck. And it's and at some point it was interesting. It kind of what changed my mind quite a bit is the site got reviewed in I think Hemmings. I still have the page article, and it gave everything was fantastic. And then one of the things that mentioned that is they have a page where people argue with each other. And from that point on, I decided this is not a good place to be. And so I removed that when I think with the software change, I'm like, this is not going to happen anymore. I did not think of it at that time, but what that allowed is it gave people a space to be assholes, and that wasn't it. I didn't want to be that. Correct. And this is one of the things I told Slavs: if you want to do things, go to Facebook where everybody else does that. Yes. Or create your own page. I at some point wanted to create my own page where people just argue about politics because I think I can sell ads there like crazy.
Well, he's just moved to bring a trailer.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Really? Yeah, he just pounds people on bring a trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've met people who started Bring a Trailer. It was kind of fun to hang out with them, and then they sold it off to now I haven't seen them since.
I remember the argument between Esty and Al Canu.
That was a long time ago. That was that was the old carpet wars, yes.
I don't want to steal your forum, but I got to tell you something funny. So when Esty first came on hard and strong, and it had a lot to do with the carpet wars, nobody knew who Esty was yet, and I didn't know Esty. And so I was more cynical then. I'm younger than that now. I, on the forum, said, Esty, how do I know you're a real woman and not just some dude with a hairy back? Something said
You see, and then I banned him. And that's why he had to change his name.
and her response was priceless, and we actually became friends from it.
So yeah, Esty passed away in December. Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody's ever confirmed.
No, it was confirmed by somebody. It was confirmed. That's one of those things. Yeah, it was one of the things. I always tried to help her and all the stuff. But there was a big suggestion. I'm trying to figure out how to actually get that done and have. Well, it's not just her. It just and this is kind of I want to figure out how to do like have a memorial section. There's I think for me one of the first people there were people from Bay Area that yes, that's one of the first people that I've known. Yes. And yep. Oh.
Harry Gonkowski.
Yep, Harry. Yeah. So it's a.
Can you have a memorial section yet?
Absolutely, I can make this. I can do whatever. I'm just trying to figure out how to format so it looks kind of a. And
Some of us here will be joining that page.
that's
Hopefully.
yeah.
Let me on that page.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's the page that's going to grow forever. That's one of those things that will always increase in size. But yeah.
That would be good.
So this is kind of I know some of these people, but I don't know them all, right? And I don't want them to be obituaries because this is not something we want. I think it needs to be kind of a memorial information. So if you want to write something about somebody who you know who is a big part of the 2002 community and is no longer with us, send me a picture, send me a page, and I will post it. And that could be the first start. It's also hard to do a first start when we know so many. It's like I need more than one. I don't want to pick specific people out, but SD's just well, it's not even the last one anymore because there have been a couple since then. So and it's kind of sad because it's the older. I feel young compared to everybody else here because there's conversations and like I've been changing transmissions on the on cars before I was born, but we all know everybody. We know all this kind of stuff. Thanks for dragging this whole thing down. Couple things. You might have seen me struggle with that thing earlier today. I was a little late, kind of late lunch. There's a camera right there that's pointing at me. If you look at it right now, you can see it actually follows me around. It does it by itself. It's kind of fun. It is scary. Welcome AI. We'll take over the world. Andy and I had conversations about that for the last how many days we've been here? I actually have no idea because yesterday was 2 days. What 2 years ago when I first came here, after being convinced by several people, right there, somebody who is not here right now, I decided to take the weirdest possible flights to come here. Apparently, nobody flies from San Jose directly to the Walmart. There are flights from LAX, but not from Bay Area. Apparently, we don't know what Walmart is. I've been to 2 of them there. It takes time and it takes a little bit of effort. And in the end of this whole thing 2 years ago, I thought it was well worth it. Just absolutely incredible. You guys are absolutely fantastic. It was so much fun that I decided to do this again this year. And then about 3 weeks ago, I decided that this was going to be, I want to show it to everybody else what this actually looks like because they've never been here. And I decided to get into photography. The most pictures I've ever taken was a cell phone, and they were horrendous. I think I posted some stuff to Instagram, and I had one of the best posts ever. Somebody told me, they said somebody should steal my camera. This is Instagram. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be a little bit difficult. I did some research for like a week. I bought a camera that does video recording, and this is what it's actually doing right now. It is kind of crazy because I am my own guinea pig, and I did not want that to be like that. The good thing is I can edit all of this, and nobody will ever see this. Delete. The weirdest thing is actually going to be listening to myself talk because I hate hearing my own voice. In my head, it sounds completely different than what actually sounds on camera. But because I wanted to show it to everybody, I kind of figured out a few things how this thing actually works, how to record a few things. I've taken some photos, and I've discovered things like Lightroom and Premiere Pro, and I still don't know how to use most of them, but there are cool buttons there. You push a button, the picture looks fantastic. So I haven't posted any of them yet, but actually I took a picture of Paul's Rust, and it came out incredible after we gained Photoshop. So I will start posting them as I have more time, so it's not going to be here. And but tomorrow, I know there are several tech sessions. I think in the morning I have to look at the schedule. I can't remember who is doing them in the morning, but I'm going to try to record those too. And then the stuff that's going to be in the evening, 7 o'clock, something like that, we are actually going to do it live. So if you want to, yeah, if you want to find out how bad things go wrong, you always do things live. And
You're gonna do Jack live?
no, actually, Jack's not in the evening. Jack's in the morning. Yeah. So there was a joke earlier today. It's gonna be a 45-minute talk. It's gonna start. Hi, my name is Jack. Bye, that was Jack. And that's it. No, and I don't know how to do 5-second delay and be able to bleep things everywhere. So we're gonna delay that. We'll fix it in post-op. That's the phrase I'm using for everything. Yeah, some of those are less than others. But the evening side is gonna be live, and through magics of technology, it's gonna go into the live YouTube stream, which is gonna be available on the FAQ page. For those people who will be watching at that specific time, they'll have an opportunity to ask questions live. And they're gonna, once they ask the questions and somebody answers them on stage, I can mark the time when it actually happens. So you can go back and actually watch it. I've not done this before, so we're gonna see how it actually works in the end. And so that's gonna be for the Tuesday evening, and then also the Wednesday morning sessions, if the first one works well. And you'll see me sitting over there with a laptop. If you want to come over and look what actually looks for everybody else, you're welcome to, and I'll try to get the questions. For those who are going to be presenting, Jack, you're going to have to wear a microphone, like this little thing right here. It's tiny. And I know there's going to be a questions and answers thing in the afternoon. There is going to be 4 of you. I only have 2 microphones. You're going to have to pass them around, so share. And I really hope this is going to show to everybody what it is. And this is, you guys are guinea pigs, and I'm a guinea pig for the whole thing. But in the future, I want to be able to kind of present these things to everybody further down the line. So I might have to, some of you are technically capable, and I might have to fly to Ohio and see Mike and get him a camera so we can film him talking. I have lots of names who I want to actually do this with, and some of them have kids and grandkids who can show them how to get this done. For some of them, I might have to do it, just go out there. So that was kind of there. Anything else?
I'd just like to say thank you. We really appreciate it. The forum is a fountain of information, and it is really indispensable for guys working on the cars.
Thank you. And